Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fuel R slash Racetrack Designs IndyCar series here for the Spooktober shootout at Daytona International Speedway for the road course configuration here tonight. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, it's time for these drivers to get a little spooky.
Yeah, we're getting close to Halloween. It is the week of Halloween. This Saturday would be the day itself. But tonight, here on Thursday night, we're getting under the lights here at Daytona for something a little bit different. Indy cars at the 24-hour configuration. So these drivers are going to have to figure out their way around this track. And being that we are so close to Halloween, you got to make sure that you don't get some bad luck heading your way, because it's going to be one of those races from start to finish, as it's a 35-lap feature tonight.
This is the third to last race of the season. Points are looking close, and right now the drivers are hunting for this championship. Riley Thompson on top of the board, looking strong. You also have yourselves, Kite Bommersbach, who's looking as strong as ever. But the driver I've got my eye out for has got to be Jason Brophy. Most wins of the season, and a driver that's just been looking really strong at the ovals. Our last driver to win back at Auto Club 2 weeks ago, excuse me. And he said he's feeling strong about the final race, but to get there, he's got two road courses. And the man who's on top of the board right now, Riley Thompson, here for pole position, he's just going to get stronger and stronger as these road courses go on.
No, yeah, absolutely. He's qualified a very fast car tonight. He had about a half a second lead over our second place position starter, being Danny Roberts, as far as time went in the qualifying session we had earlier tonight. So he's got a fast car, and he's starting in the best possible position he can to get down into turn one. This is going to be a hectic turn one, as they're going to rocket down in there at well over 185 miles an hour. And you know as well as I do, this many cars going into turn one at this track, especially when they're going that fast, you got to think that's as fast as a DPI when they go into that turn. So, this is going to be hectic for these drivers in the point standings, but I think if Riley Thompson can get going, that he might have a shot to clinch this championship.
Pace car rolls off. 17 drivers here, and green flag out in the air. Riley Thompson leading the way. Danny Roberts hugging behind, as well as a lot of other hungry machines behind them. So a couple of cars bringing out some spooky themed vehicles here tonight. But right now, we're seeing that 56 machine pulling off and really moving away from the rest of the field. As off the track, it's going to be Jason Brophy. No!
Well, there's a car around going into the infield. I'm not sure who that was. I think that was Will Roberts, perhaps.
That was Sarah Tessum.
Sarah Tessum gone off track at the back. I think might have gotten a little bit of help, did she, going through the little bit of a kink going down into the International Horseshoe. But everyone else is still running around, and Jason Brophy went off track as well. He fell back quite a bit. He's now running in the 8th place position as they go through the second of the hairpins going back onto the Daytona, back on the oval section of the racetrack. So he's got some catching up to do if he wants to get back up there. And everyone looks like they've gotten kind of single filed out, as up at the front, Riley Thompson's pulled up about a half a second gap over Will Roberts, but Cohen Evans is coming right behind Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Roberts right now in that 41 machine, second place at the moment. Cohen Evans in third. Justin Miller, I believe this is Justin Miller's first race of the season here for the Fuel guys, running in fourth place. But hunting behind him is going to be Barrett Rolfe. Our winner last time, I believe, was back at, that was going to be at Belle Isle the last time we saw this 33 machine back in victory lane. He'll be trying to get another victory here at another road course.
Yeah, he's going to the outside of Miller at the moment, trying to make the pass work before getting into turn one. He's going to have him cleared going into turn one. So, give the position to Rolfe. He's got a fast car tonight. He might be able to challenge for this win if he can get up towards the front of the field. He's already there as they're battling side by side. Cohen Evans and Danny Roberts going side by side through the infield sections. We go into International once again. Looks like it's going to be Roberts on the inside line with the advantage, but Cohen Evans got a fast car as well, trying to get their position going up through the kink. Looks like that battle's going to stay pretty prevalent for the rest of the race as well.
Another driver to watch out for, that's going to be Chad Simpson back in 6th place. During practice, one of the fastest cars out there on the course. Didn't have the fastest qualifying time, but still, this 46 machine looking quick in that red, white, and blue.
Yeah, and he's got Kite Bommersbach right behind him, bringing him through the field as well. And Bommersbach is one of those drivers who's in a good position points-wise, second in the standings at the moment. So running 7th to the guy who's the leader of the points. him leading the race at the moment, you got to get back up towards the front if you want to have a shot going into the last two races. Is we really don't know what the situation with the point standings as far as margins are going to be when we head into next week, because this is a drop race, this being the last of the drop races. So we will know for sure when we go into Watkins Glen what the point standings actually look like as far as how close the margins are. But at the current moment, I think if I'm doing the math correctly in my head, that Bommersbach is really not that far behind Riley Thompson when considering drop races. So, for Bommersbach, it's a must-win. No, well, not really a must-win, but it is a get to the front of the field and get a top 3 finish to have a shot going into Watkins. And, points are going to continue to stay that way because we got 2 races left, and there's going to be a lot of challenging for the top spot in points.
Jason Brophy, we saw have issues, now going to be put back another position, as it's going to be Byron Daly going to be getting by him. And Daly is someone that has been quick at road courses time after time. And the 60 machine, we're expecting him to climb through the rest of the field and should be one of the contenders for this race win here, if he can get through the field quick enough, as right now he's almost 5 seconds back from our leader just due to the fact that he's stuck behind traffic.
Yeah, he's got a lot of it around him at the moment. He's got Bommersbach in front, and then he's got Brophy and Munoz a little ways behind him, and then Chad Simpson's in front of both him and Bommersbach. So kind of in a hornet's nest, scrunched together with some cars running around on the racetrack, and he's got a lot of work, as you said, to get up to. And at the back of the pack, it's going to be Christian Alacio. He's already a lap down, so something must have happened to the 81. He's already fallen a lap. Must have been a spin that we didn't see, or something else had happened, because he's way back here along with Brent Jones and Sarah Tessam, although they're on the lead lap.
Yeah, Brent Jones, Sarah Tessam, they had their woes in the first couple of laps, both of them rocking their Halloween schemes. Brent Jones rocking his Reese's Franken-Cup scheme, and Sarah Tessam going with a kind of a candy corn look for her car. But Sarah Tessam was expecting a good day whenever she's at a road course, feels very confident, as another car is going to be having issues. That's going to be the 42 machine losing a front wing. That's Eric Gonzalez.
Yeah, heavy damage on the front end and on the rear end of that car. There's no yellow out in the racetrack, no full course yellow anyway. We might have some local yellows, but there is no, there's damage on the front, there's damage on the back. Looks like this is suspension damage, so something really must have happened to this 42 machine to bring it to the pit road in that condition. He's going to lose the lap. He's going to spend a lot of time on pit road after this.
Moving back up for that battle for 6th place. It's now 4 cars. Munoz has dropped back down to the 9th place, and that's 09. As we've got ourselves Chad Simpson leading this little train of Simpson, Daly, Brophy, and Munoz, as they're trying to figure out how to move forward, as Miller starts to pull away, and the more that they battle and stay in line, the more they start to lose gap on our leader.
Yeah, Miller is pulling away from them. Barrett Rolfe, Cohen Evans, all of our top 5 pretty much. On the inside goes Daly, trying to make it move into the bus stop. It's a heavy braking zone, a little bit of room, and there he goes. He's got the move done, and he's got the position. So get the 6th place position back to Daly. Although Chad Simpson had a pretty good run out of the bus stop. Not as good of a run as Jason Brophy, though, as he's going to try and go for a move down through NASCAR turn 3 and 4. Going down on the front straightaway. Can Brophy perhaps get the move done before they get into turn 1? It looks like they're also reeling Daly.
Well, here's the thing. Simpson was having a slight advantage. He's got the slipstream. No, going to be possibly a crossover move here as Simpson gets a little bit of draft. Going to pop on the inside. And that could have been terrifying into corner number 1 as all drivers are able to whoa up. But this course is so interesting because about 80% of the regular oval that NASCAR runs here for the IndyCars, they still run as well on this road course.
Yeah, it's a pretty big configuration. It's the one that we're all familiar with. It does not have the bus stop that was put in for NASCAR when they come here. So it's the familiar 24-hour layout that we have, and we're used to seeing cars go fast on it. I mentioned earlier the DPIs and the GTs that usually race here for the 24-hour Daytona and all that. But these are Indy cars. These are open wheel cars. They have about the same power output and speed that you could get out of a DPI. So not entirely unfamiliar territory as far as that goes. Although IndyCar at the Daytona road course, even though you're spending only 80% on the oval part itself, these speeds are approaching 190 miles an hour when they get into turn 1. if you went around the entire road course, especially if they were in their oval configuration as far as aerodynamics go, we could be seeing 230, 240 easily out of these cars, and that's just something scary to think about. So yeah, on the oval for a long time in an Indy car, it's got to be terrifying, especially considering these cars don't have any form of power steering either. And you know as well as I do, power steering is very important when making these cars go around these turns that quickly.
And the battle for second place continues on. It's just Cohen Evans has a fast car, just continuously stuck on the high side, entering corner number 1 and costing him all that time that he then has to try to regain back up throughout the rest of the course.
Yeah, Cohen Evans has had a couple of good shots at Roberts. Like you said, not being able to make the pass done going into turn 1, but still fast. They're both keeping up with Riley Thompson at the moment, and I'm not really sure if Thompson is saving his tires or if he is really just running as fast as he can, trying to get away from Roberts and Evans. Give credit to Roberts and Evans for keeping up with Thompson, because Thompson's no slouch when it comes to road courses this season either.
No, look, one of our heavy favorites every single time we come to a road course is Riley Thompson, and that 56 machine leading the way so far as we're 6 laps into this race, and it's already looking very good for our top 3 that have already pulled out over 3.5 seconds over Barrett Rolfe, who's running in 4th place. So, it's been good to see, and it's looking like as long as you have a tandem partner, like we see Roberts and Evans be, they're still able to keep within a second of our leader, and it's been working out well for them. The only hard part is whenever Cohen Evans comes with a head of steam and is trying to make a pass, that's when it hurts both those drivers.
Yeah, going side by side really does hurt in the way of aerodynamics. And whoa, look how hard Evans sent it into turn 1. These cars are right on the limit going into T1, and again, so fast going into this first turn, and you have to slow it down quite a bit to make the turn, and they have been able to keep up with Riley Thompson. Thompson seems to have a faster car on the oval section, so it looks like that perhaps they have set it up to be a little bit more for straight line speed rather than cornering, because they always both Roberts and Evans seem to catch up to Thompson in the infield section. As soon as they get out onto the oval, that 56 rockets away. So I think that's kind of what the strategy is for that 56 machine at the moment. And it's not a bad one. You could lose some time, defend on the infield section, then once you get on the oval, you're untouchable, and not a bad strategy on their part.
Justin Miller spins it around in the 80 machine. I was just about to drop back because they were battling soon with Daly, and right when I was about to switch to him, he spins it around for this 80 machine. We're going to take a quick replay and see exactly what happened to him.
So the first of many spins that we were expected to see tonight as the track starts, or as the tires start to wear down. It looks like he self-spun going on to the oval section coming out of the infield.
Just got onto the gas a little bit too hard, costing the 80 machine about 4 positions there, as Justin Miller running in the top 5, now running back in 9th place.
Yeah, he dropped like a rock on that exchange. He also took a really weird bounce going on to the
battle for the lead.
There is a battle for the lead. Oh my goodness. They have caught him. That's something that we didn't expect. They must have had a whale of a run coming out of the bus stop, because they were not that close going into the bus stop.
Yeah, Riley he's not been crazy consistent so far this race. He's just been a couple of tenths off of what his best time here or there. But man, Danny Roberts, as well as Cohen Evans, they have been putting some screaming quick lap times, trying to run down this 56 machine, and them running together, utilizing the draft through this whole entire oval aspect of this road course. It's been helping them a ton, and that's why they're able to stay with our leader and possibly a chance for the battle for the lead.
Yeah, battle going down onto the bus stop. That's a heavy braking zone. If they can get some draft off of Thompson, you better believe that if they get close enough, they're going to try it, especially in turn 1, as it seems that Roberts and Evans are able to get out of the bus stop quicker than Thompson is. And there's a long run down to turn 1 out of the bus stop. You see them snaking down the back stretch as they go into the bus stop. So they've closed up to Thompson going through. On the exit, looks like that Roberts and Evans a little bit slower that time than we're used to seeing, so they've dropped back a little bit, about to 0.6 of a second back, and now it looks like Evans might have a run on Roberts. This is battle for second.
And this is exactly what we've seen Evans do multiple times. This time he's going to cross over. He's not going to be on the outside, but it's still not close enough to get to the rear wheel, and just going to have to follow suit.
Roberts really pushed Evans up the racetrack. It looked a little bit scary though. Look how deep Roberts sends it into turn one though, right on the rear wing of Riley Thompson, but has to back out of it. Did not have good exit. And now here comes Evans capitalizing on that. There's a plume of smoke in turn one. I don't know if that was tire lockup or if that was something else, but man, that was heavy braking on the part of this 41 machine.
I thought maybe there was an incident in the back of the field as Miller slowed down a ton going into corner number one, way more than we've been seeing other drivers come in. We do have one driver that has officially DNF'd, and that's going to be the 42 of Eric Gonzalez. Yeah, DNF'd a couple of laps ago, but hard contact. We saw the damage there when we were taking a look at him as, oh, Danny Roberts goes spins it around!
In the same section that Miller spun it around. So there goes the battle for the lead of the race, or at least one of the competitors out of the battle. It got on the power a little bit too early in that same section out of 7. I believe that might have been exactly what happened to this 41 car. A mirror image of what happened to that was Justin Miller a few laps ago.
And this is just going to be huge because now it's bringing more cars up, and now we've got a battle here for third place as Barrett Rolfe under heavy fire from Daly as well as Rolfe. From Rolfe. 3 wide.
Three wide. I don't know if they're going to make this work going into turn one. One of these drivers is going to have to bail out of this before they get there. It looks like it's going to be Barrett Rolfe. A wise decision on that part, knowing that turn one kind of squeezes up. And now they're going in. It looks like that Daly's going to get the position done. I'm sorry, that's not Daly. That is Barrett Rolfe going to get the... And I'm sorry, that is Daly going to get the position done. I'm getting these names mixed up on my relative. But yeah, Daly's going to get the position. And now a battle for fourth between Brophy and Rolfe. Oh,
Brophy. Whoa. Brophy trying to get by and does. And take a quick look at Brophy's scheme here. He's rocking a scheme that as he's getting by, that person you see right there, that is going to be Tanner Watkins, who is a legend in the IndyCar community and also is going to be a host for the Open Wheel 500 about 2-ish weeks. And just Brophy rocking out some of the IndyCar community members on his car as he's rocketing himself up to fourth place, which is massive for him points-wise. Because right now, it's not really try to win this race. It's more of keep the battle close between himself and Thompson.
And he's put himself in a pretty good position to do that, running in fourth place. Thompson leading the race, although he's under heavy fire from Cohen. Evans has been ever since the start of the race. Evans has actually caught up to the back end of Thompson. These two have a gap way back to Daly, about a 7.5 second back, or second gap back to Daly, as he's been in a battle with Brophy and Rolfe for the past few laps, and now he's under fire again, this time from Brophy. What can Jason Brophy do? Does he dare use the brakes to his advantage in turn one? Does he back out, try the crossover? He's going to sail on the outside of Daly going through turn one, but swings it a little bit too wide, so going to lose that momentum out of the corner number one.
Almost losing that position there to Barrett Rolfe, and don't look now, but here comes Danny Roberts. Danny Roberts has put down the fastest lap so far this race, but that was about 5 laps ago. Still running quick, he's actually running faster than our leader at the moment. This 41 machine is going to be fast, but he's got a lot of heavy traffic he's got to get by.
Yeah, he's got a lot of slow cars that are slower relative to him. Oh, there's contact! Him and Brophy get together through the second of the hairpins, and now he's going to get back on the racetrack through the MotoGP circuit, and now he's going to get back on through 7. That could have ended in disaster for both drivers, but I think they were able to get away with it.
From 4th back to 8th, and that was probably one of our first times we've seen actual contact between drivers that caused someone to spin. Usually it's been a self-spin coming from the road course to the oval transition, but that looked like slight netcode as well with that incident, as we'll take a quick effort on replay to see what exactly happened there and if it was just blatant contact or a little bit of netcode.
There might have been slight contact, although as we're looking at it, it's hard to tell. It's real. I think that was netcode.
Coming in, that's a pretty good shot. I mean, they didn't blatantly hit one another, as we'll take another view from a different angle of this contact here, but man, was that close, hard racing, as we'll take a chopper cam look as these drivers were coming in to that corner, and it's just too close to call, really.
Yeah, I don't I think you call that a racing deal for sure. I don't think there was any malicious intent on the part of Danny Roberts. Certainly not.
Absolutely not.
He was turning hard as right as he could, but I think he sent it a little bit too far and then just couldn't get it slopped in enough time to get the position done. So a little bit of contact could have ended a whole lot worse for Jason Brophy, but definitely not what he needed for point standings, as he's fallen all the way back to 8th.
And a car's in the pits, and I'm interested if this is actually a scheduled stop or not, as Will Roberts has pulled it in. And I think he might be about a lap or two outside of the window from making it in from here. So might be a little bit too soon for this 27 machine.
And he's been on pit road for the better part of a minute now, so there's probably something.
Oh, Cohen Evans dumps it on the transition as well.
Wow. So now on the apron, trying to get back onto the speedway. That's going to lose a lot of time for Cohen Evans. That was second place running at the time.
Went from under a second away from our leader to now 5.1 seconds back. One incident can cost you that much time, as the battle now for third place is underway, as Barrel Rolf's on the back bumper of Daly.
Yeah, Rolf has got a fast car going into turn 1. He's got the speed, 183 miles an hour into turn 1. Can he get the position move done? He's actually got a little bit. Can he do the crossover? No, Daly put his car right where he needed to, although he did get a good exit out of turn 1, going through the little kink. Now they go into International Horseshoe. What can he do through here? He's got the inside of the racetrack, but looks like that Daly's going to have a little bit better exit. No, it looks like that's going to be Rolf for the better exit through the kink.
But don't look now. Here comes Danny Roberts, who we've seen is quick. I don't believe that contact with Brophy is actually going to be hurting that 41 machine, as he'll be still cruising in on the back bumper of both these machines.
Yeah, cruising is an understatement. He is got a wicked fast car. Challenging for the lead a few laps ago, but spun it and this very part of the racetrack that we're looking at right now. And now he's going to try and reel his way back to the lead of the race. He's running 5th at the moment. Daly and Rolf have got fast cars. If they can catch Cohen Evans, they might have a way to get to the leader. But that leader, Riley Thompson, cruising at the moment right now. But Daly looks like it might go attack into the bus stop. Nope, going to go single file through there. But you know that Daly's going to have a good run going out of the bus stop. This is going to transition to a battle for third place going down into turn 1.
Really, it's all about how well can you get through the bus stop, and can you get under the driver that you're trying to battle. If you can somehow deke them and get under them, but it looks like Daly's going to try the outside lane, as that's the only spot he's given, as ducking it into the pits is going to be Barrett Rolf. And here goes the battle now for third place, as Daly and Roberts side by side.
Roberts had a good run going in. Can he get the move done? No one's really been able to make the move stick in turn 1. Oh, he looks around!
Danny Roberts spins it, and here comes the course. Another contact with Munoz.
And Munoz has to duck out of the way, and that's going to allow Jason Brophy to go through. And now it looks like Danny Roberts has got heavy front end damage on the end of that 41 car. He's got wing damage on the right side. I got to say, that was a bit of an ambitious remerge, but man, Munoz, nowhere to go, comes rushing in, and now he's gotten damage as well.
You see that front right wing gone. Munoz, his wings look like they're okay. He was kind of clipped on the back end, but here comes Justin Miller now, and that 80 machine going to try to pass Munoz here for 6th place. Multiple drivers have already come into the pits. We saw Barrett Rolf duck it in. He's getting some repairs done. Wait, am I seeing some damage on that 33 machine, or are my eyes deceiving me?
Let me look around. I don't think there is any. Yeah, there's damage on the front end. The front wing is gone. Well, part of the front wing is gone.
The front right wing looks gone completely from the 33 machine. He's getting that damage repair. Other drivers that came into the pits, that was going to be Sarah Tessam has come in, Evan Adams, and also it's going to be Kai Bommersbach that have pulled into the pits as well. Other drivers that have come in besides Christian Alacio has come in multiple times, as now our leader's coming in. Here comes Riley Thompson as well as Cohen Evans.
I just looked back at what happened to the 33 of Rolf, and it was on pit exit. These drivers, they can go off the pit limiter at the very end of the NASCAR pit road section. And when he went off, he carried too much speed throughout the merge cycle, and he ran into the guardrail on the right side, got rid of the front wing, or the right side of his front wing, did a lot of damage to the suspension as he kind of bounced over some curbs, and then he had to tow it to pit road. So he's going to be there for a while, as looks like Thompson's going to be out of the pits, and now Daly's going to be our interim leader.
If we're seeing Rolf have to tow from where he was at, that's going to be over almost a 3-minute tow for himself. And then he's going to have to wait for the damage repair for that machine. So he could be in the pits for over 4 minutes, which could put him about 3 laps down. As like you said, right now it's going to be Daly leading the way. Brophy in the 88 machine second for now. As pit road is being heavy with action. Here comes Mike Hurley. He's now into the pits, getting his service done. I mean, this has been a wild race so far.
Yeah, wild race for a lot of drivers. It's been a lot of self-spins, although we have not had a full course yellow at the moment. Not anything big enough to warrant that. We have had some self-spins.
Check on your end there, but I think Danny Roberts might have just parked it.
Danny Roberts has parked the car, so the 41 now with issues. We're not really sure what happened there. I don't think there was damage.
I mean, he lost the front wing that he was trying to get that repaired, and then he might have had issues after he got out of the pits. As Daly almost ran into Brent Jones there entering pit road, and now we also have Brophy coming into the pits, which this should be giving Riley Thompson the lead here as Chad Simpson in that 46 machine he's in, and now all the pit road should be done and done with service all the way to the end of this race.
I just looked back at what happened to Danny Roberts, and it was a similar situation on pit exit through that section where you have to go. Normally, the 24-hour race, they run the pit limiter all the way to the end of the pit wall, going through the extended part of the pit road exit. But again, for the IndyCars tonight, they're not doing that. What happened was he got on the power. He got through the first section, okay, the tight left turn going through what would be turn 1 on the right-hand side. And then as he put power down going through what would be the little chicane section, actually got on the power too much and slammed it into the wall again, similar to what happened to Barrett Rolfe. So more front wing damage was put onto the 41, forcing him to park it, and he had to tow it back to pit road and park it, and I think he's retired from the race. So one of our front runners, two of our front runners have already had pit road troubles. You got to think that maybe this is going to be something that might call out someone else, as I don't think they can make it to the end of the race on these tires.
On these tires, they should be good. I believe they all took 4 tires and fuel, and they're out and away for all of these drivers. So right now, everyone is good, and 20 laps coming to 19 laps to go. Anthony, it's been a wild one. I think we're going to take a quick FRN side-by-side commercial break. We'll be right back with all the action, but you won't miss a thing as we take our side-by-side.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flag, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps till your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iRacingIFlag.com.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways.
And we are back to the racing action as you've been checking out two different battles swapping back and forth. Right now we're on board with Munoz and Miller as, oh, there goes Miller trying to get by that 09 machine. As they've been just duking it back and forth. And Anthony, there's also another battle going on back there for about around 8th, 9th place.
Yeah, there is, and now there's actually a couple of more drivers that have been entered into that. As Sarah Tessum is now showing her presence in the 8th place position. That battle for 7th was pretty intense between Simpson, Evan Adams, and Byron Daly, although Daly is on pit road for some reason. He has just pulled it off. I think that's what gave Sarah Tessum this position. I think that maybe there was contact between Adams and Daly, as I don't think they were that far back, or rather Tessum was that close to them on the racetrack.
Well, Daly's been having issues. He's had to come back into the pit road about 2 times now since his initial time that he came in, and he's just been struggling either to get damage repair. There's been something obviously wrong with that 90 machine, but props here to Sarah Tessum, who we saw be that one car, quarter number 1, absolutely dump it off the course, dropped all the way back to last place, and now has marched her way up to 8th place. A great run for this candy corn machine.
Now, whatever your opinion on candy corn is, I personally think candy corn is disgusting, but this scheme is really nice, and I got to give credit to the scheme. But yeah, Sarah Tessum has made her way pretty far up the field. I had to get that candy corn thing in there because we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, man, I think the people need to know about my stance. So there's my stance.
Well, you can eat it now. You just got through the bout with Corona. You're dealing with it right now. I mean, you said you're still struggling with taste. I mean, you can eat it now and you don't have to deal with it.
I mean, I could, but that doesn't mean that I'll still like it.
True. As this battle now is over a second, Sarah Tessum has definitively gotten this 8th place position. Now going to be trying to run down Chad Simpson. And what's crazy is it always happens when we try to go side by side. The racing action intensifies, and then once we come back, everyone starts to split up. Anthony, this has been a wild first half of this race. We were seeing battles all over the place, and now everyone's starting to fizzle out and kind of seeing where they're going to be sitting for probably most of this race, unless we see someone spin out like we've seen already.
Yeah, when tires start to wear out, especially the rear tires, they start to lose grip, and out of some of these turns, most of these turns, if not all these turns, are flat. So when you get power down, especially if you're trying to get a run down a straightaway, and there's plenty of them here, then you maybe try to get on it a little bit too hard, and you end up looping it around. We saw 2 drivers do that, most notably through the section back onto the speedway, that being one of them Danny Roberts, and the other one being Barrett Rolfe. No, not Barrett Rolfe. It was, I'm looking through here. That was Danny Roberts and Byron Daly, I think. And Byron Daly is parked it.
Yeah, Daly is officially parked it, as well as Barrett Rolfe. And Danny Roberts are done. Miller right now, they were battling, and right now we're watching as Brent Jones, who just hasn't been feeling the pace, has been running slow all day. Getting
Whoa!
past
Miller
everyone.
spun it.
Miller once again getting spun around, this time around Munoz.
And we were just saying, powered down a little bit too early through the International Horseshoe, spins it around on the exit and got into the infield, but has gotten it back going the right direction. Didn't hit anything, so I don't think there's anything really wrong with that car other than the rear tires are going to be screaming at him. He's got to be careful. This is the second time he spun it around on a different part of the racetrack this time. But that gives the position to Munoz, who has found himself in a very interesting 4th place.
Rodrigo Munoz going for a top 5 finish here this race, and it's looking good for this team that's been really consistent all season long. Right now has a total of 2 top 5s, trying to make it 3. And another driver that's trying to make it 3 top 5s, that's going to be Cohen Evans, who has shown a lot of pace, just a lot of bad luck for this 17 machine, running in 2nd place, and was the driver that was right on our tail end of our leader until he spun it around, and also has lost time coming into the pits. I am very impressed on the fact that Riley Thompson, even with pit limiters, was somehow able to really gain a lot of speed on entry and exit out of pit road, as well as had one of the fastest pit stops the whole entire series. So this 56 machine going for it all, has already had the perfect pit stop, now just has to stay perfect on track.
Yeah, he was able to get a wicked fast stop, to your point, and now he's gotten himself a Mondo lead at the moment, about a 10-second gap back to Cohen Evans, and he's just been able to make it work for him. Speaking on that pit road bit, I saw him when he peeled off to go to pit road. He was very hard on the brakes down to the line. I think he actually locked the tires up going on to pit road, but the benefit with that is that you're going to change them anyway, so as long as you get slowed down in enough time and get back on the throttle, you're already on the pit limiter, so you're not going to speed on pit road if you get it below pit road speed. He's able to do that and was able to get through his stall exceptionally quick. A 27.7 second stop overall. That's all the gap was, and consider that Cohen Evans had a 29 second stop, so nearly 2 seconds were gained on pit road, and just been able to drive away. He's gained a second as we've been talking about him over the course of this half a lap.
Side-by-side racing for 7th place is Chad Simpson, under a lot of fire here from Sarah Tessum. And Tessum, that last lap, 2nd fastest car on the field, and really one of the super quick machines. Only car that is faster than her is our leader.
Yeah, and that's important because Tessum, I think at the moment, all the cars in front have some sort of issue happening with them, apart from Chad Simpson, who's kept his nose clean pretty much, but Miller's had a couple spins. Bomberschbach has found himself in a couple tight spots. Munoz has got front wing damage. Jason Brophy has had his issues tonight. The only driver I think in front that doesn't have issues, apart from Riley Thompson, is Cohen Evans. But yeah, Sarah Tessum, extremely fast car right now, although Simpson's not too keen on giving up that spot, even though that it is a dogfight for that spot at the moment, as Tessum spins it out of the International Horseshoe, facing the wrong direction of the worst part of the track, gets it spun around the right direction, and now has lost that position to Evan Adams, and now is falling back to 9th.
Yeah, Evan Adams able to sneak by, and Sarah Tessum was, you could tell there was a slight frustration after not being able to get past Chad Simpson there on the front stretch, and through road course and through the horseshoe, not able to stay strong. Same spot we just saw Miller spin. And you just, at road courses, you always have those certain spots that drivers just overall throughout the whole entire field have issues at, and that's been horseshoe, and that's been the transition from the road course to the oval.
They're flat turns, and they're important to get power down because that sets up the next set of corners. More so the transition from the road course to the oval than at the International Horseshoe, because that sets up your entire run going down into the bus stop. And as we've seen throughout the night, if you have a good run going into the bus stop, it really does help when you set yourself up before the run down to turn 1 if you can't get the move done by the bus stop. So getting the power down too early, these cars don't have traction control, so it's even harder for these drivers to get the power down safely. We see other series come here, the DPIs, they have some traction control that they can use throughout the race, and especially the GTs have a form of TC that they use, but these cars do not have that. So throttle control is a lot for these drivers to think about throughout the race. And we've seen some drivers struggle with it, and we've seen some drivers be really smooth with it. Case in point is Cohen Evans and Riley Thompson. Is they haven't really had any issues with spinning the wheels around.
Driver we haven't really talked about all race long. That's going to be Mike Hurley pulling that 32 machine into the pits. Was running in 10th place at the time, trying to get some service done. And I believe this will be the first pit stop for that 32 machine based off our telemetry. So really able to push it pretty far. And I think that's just due to the fact of how much slower Mike Hurley has been, hoping to get some type of advantage by staying out, and might be trying to push it here on the later run. As we're looking at more of some of these Halloween schemes, Evan Adams rocking a variation of his main scheme that he usually runs, this time with the Halloween orange, black, and white with a little bit of yellow on the front nose of that thing.
It's a really nice looking paint scheme for tonight's race. A very jack-o'-lantern type scheme that he's running, and I really like these Halloween schemes that we're seeing for tonight's race. I mean, 'tis the season, the first of the holiday season coming up, and it's really nice to see that these drivers are getting the spirit. Now, Halloween might be a little bit different this year.
Oh!
Through turn one, he gotta get ducks down. He's got to stop. I don't know if he stalled it. He's got it going again, but speaking of scary situations, Evan Adams demonstrates how easy it is to throw a car away in turn one, and he's gotten it back going the right direction. But we're not really sure what Halloween looks like in various forms due to the ongoing Backstreet Boys reunion tour. But it's nice to see these drivers bringing out the spooky schemes for the season.
It really is. Then you also got Brett Jones, who, like we've stated, has been a lap down. He's rocking his Reese's Franken's Cup scheme here. And I mean, with Halloween coming around, that just means candy, trick-or-treating, dressing up in your costumes. Now, what is one of your favorite candies out there, Anthony?
I will tell you in a minute. Riley Thompson's had to pit. He's come down pit road. He's lost the lead, surrendered the lead to Cohen Evans. So I don't know if that was scheduled or not. These drivers could certainly make it to the end of the race without having to pit again, we would think. So something has happened to Riley Thompson to force his hand onto pit road.
Well, it could have been the fact that my calculations were wrong. Maybe these drivers can only make it for about 12 laps or so, and then they have to come in, as that was around the same window that we've seen other drivers come in. But man, that is shocking to see, as now Riley Thompson has lost the lead to Cohen Evans, dropping back down to second place.
We'll have to see if Cohen Evans pits anytime soon. If
Sarah Tessum's in, Evan Adams are in. Yeah, it looks like round two of pit stops underway. But it looks like Riley Thompson this time around just went for fuel only, not tires. And we'll see if that's a smart move to see, as the tire drop off. There's been a slight tire drop off, but there's not too much.
I don't know if there would be enough to get tires on this next stop, because it's going to be a little bit shorter than a normal fuel run. Being that if Cohen Evans pits this time, which I think they are going to, no, they're staying out one more lap. So if they come down the next lap, there's only going to be about 7 laps to go. So it's going to be a much shorter run that you'd have to go. And if they can make it on fuel without having burned up their tires too much, then I don't know if this is a bad strategy on the part of Evans or on the part of Riley Thompson. So I don't think tires are going to matter too much in the last stage of the race.
Well, right now we've had a total of 4 cars pit in the last 3 laps. So that's going to be driver in second place, Riley Thompson, who was formerly our leader. And then we also had Sarah Tessum, Evan Adams, and Mike Hurley in the back half of our top 10. So question is, do the other drivers have enough fuel to make it? The drivers that right now that have a possible chance, that have been out there and have the least, was the last car to pit, that's going to be Chad Simpson and Jason Brophy. But that's only about 2 laps later than what Riley Thompson did. And question is, do they have enough fuel, or do we have to have some of our front runners pit here to make it to the end?
Well, Cohen Evans hasn't pitted thus far. We've only seen a couple of drivers come down since then, that being Sarah Tessum was on pit road, as well as somebody else. I think it was the 59 of Evan Adams was on pit road. So Uh, they're the only two that have pit other than Riley Thompson. I would be surprised if these drivers can make it the rest of the way on fuel. Although, as it stands right now, Cohen Evans does not have any real sense of urgency getting on a pit road. Neither does any other driver for that matter. So, is this a matter of they're trying to stretch it further, or can they really make it to the end? And Thompson had a bad call going on pit road because they're still 17 and a half seconds back. If Evans pits, we'll get the lead back from Evans, does Thompson, but will still be a little bit close and might actually have a challenge for the lead.
Well, all that I know right now is Riley Thompson, I believe, is losing time. With him battling with Jason Brophy, this is hurting the 56 machine as both of them are on similar tires. As Kai Bummersbach now pulls it into the pits.
There was some wheel spin from looks like it was going to be Thompson that had some wheel spin, but Bombersbach now on pit road, so that does kind of indicate that they are going to have to come down, as Bombersbach, one of those drivers that was on a similar pit sequence, no tires, fuel only for the 37, just enough to get to the end, so should be expecting to see them on pit road anytime now.
And we've already seen some of our front runners have issues getting out of the pits. That's something else we got to keep our eyes out on, is will people be able to survive coming out of pit road? I mean, we saw Daly have some issues. We also saw Roberts and Rolf also have their issues coming out of pit road, and it would be disastrous for some of these front runners to have issues. We already know that Riley Thompson should be good to make it to the end, but all these other drivers, are they good? As now Cohen Evans pulls it into the pits.
Leader on pit road. It's going to be what we assume going to be a fast stop, only enough fuel to get to the end of the race. The biggest question is, how big is the lead going to be once we get to the end of this stop? It looks like a little bit of a bobble getting down to pit road, but now it looks like that Brophy is going to pass Thompson for the lead of the race. So give that to the 88. Where is... Looking on the road. Okay, Thompson has also passed. So Thompson and Brophy have passed, and that's going to be about a 7, maybe 10-second lead to Thompson at the moment. So fuel only for Evans, and this might be the battle for the end of the race.
Looks like Jason Brophy also a driver that has to pit here in the next couple of laps, as right now our leader, the 88 machine, looking like he'll have to pit, as well as Chad Simpson, and then also Brent Jones looking like to be our final drivers that have to pit, as everyone else has already come in. As it's looking like Riley Thompson, he's done it again, coming in the pit road early and giving himself that advantage to continue to run as hard as he can. And with the clean run in and out of pits, it's helped him a ton, but weaving back and forth. I'm wondering if they're communicating on track, wondering when they're going to be coming into the pits and making. Oh no! Ooh, that could have been way worse. As Jason Brophy off the track, and this is going to hinder him a ton for his chance to get a podium finish here. I mean, Chad Simpson, he'll still need to pit here, but this is going to help both of them on the fact that they're going to be gaining time on this 88 machine.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Brophy's not pitting this lap. He had a whale of a spin and save coming out of the bus stop, and that car, had it snapped to the right, was heading straight for the wall. That would have been his race over and done with, but as it stands, still running on the racetrack, he's stayed out probably the longest out of all these leaders, and he really needs to. He has to have a good finish here tonight. The good news for Brophy is that if he pits, I think he's far enough ahead of Bombersbach at least that he would come out in 4th place. I don't think he'd get any worse than 4th place if he keeps his nose clean, although we just saw him almost spin out of the bus stop, so that might be a little easier said than done, but
yeah,
should see him on pit road very soon.
Sarah Betham spins it around as well, and I believe that was at the coming into the chicane where she spun out, a different spot than we've seen all of our other instances.
Yeah, I was going into the bus stop, so man, a lot of drivers having issues through the bus stop recently. There might be some dirt that's gotten onto the racetrack up there, but still no full course yellow to get rid of that dirt. Looks like we're still going to be racing. There might have been
there was some slight contact between the 70 and 81 coming into the bus stop. There is, oh no, I think she was just trying to evade him and kind of just got out of shape.
That's tough break for the 70. Again, a good run turned sour at the beginning of the race, and now is just playing catch up all race long. Running now in the 9th spot is the 70, and hopefully nothing else bad will happen on the night. Got about a 16-second
Brophy's
lead.
in.
So
Brophy into the pit. Will Simpson come in now?
That is a good question. If Simpson comes in, then Brophy's going to have a podium spot. So that is.
And he has to pit. The question is, when will we see this 46 car come in? And that's going to be now.
All right. So both of them have come in, giving this a good. And the 88 is now out. So Jason Brophy with a lightning fast stop, able to get back onto the racetrack. This is exactly what Jason Brophy needed going into Watkins in 1 week's time. He needed to have a good run to stay within striking distance of Riley Thompson for the points lead. I don't think he's going to have enough speed to catch up to Cohen Evans to get second place. Although, considering how the night started for this 88 machine, this is a fantastic result thus far.
Kai Bommersbach looks like he'll have issues as he really woed up. And we're going to take a quick replay to see what happened to the 37 machine as he was coming into corner number 2.
I believe he might have
He self-spun it here.
overcooked into turn 1, I bet.
Yeah, he did. Just sliding it, able to evade everyone else and able to keep on going. With 5 laps to go, this has been a wild finish here for a lot of these drivers. And you got to make sure you keep your car clean, as a lot of machines are still running close to one another. A battle that could be becoming a thing is Chad Simpson. He's less than 1.5 seconds back from Justin Miller in front of him. We've seen Miller have a couple of issues here.
We have had Miller spin twice in 2 different parts of the racetrack, both of them being on the infield, so no stranger to facing the wrong direction. I don't think that's a stat that he wants attached to his name, but good first run for this car. I don't think we've seen him in a race this season and this series. Not sure if he's new to the series overall, or if this is the first time he's made a start ever in the series, because I don't really have the stats on last season, but what we do know is that he has had a good run thus far. Just a couple spins have really kind of put a damper on his overall performance, but still a very solid top 5 for this car if he can indeed keep it facing the right direction.
Yeah, and this 80 machine has been somehow, with the 2 spins that he's had, able to stay in the top 5 position, which has been great to see so far, as Sarah Tessum has been slowly starting to rake in now. The 59 machine of Evan Adams once again, that's about 1.5 second difference between those drivers.
That might be a battle towards the end of this race. We're coming down to about 3 laps to go in a couple of moments, so you got to get the power down if you want to have a chance to get into the top 8 again. And I mean, better through turn 1. We've seen Tessum go better through turn 1 than Adams, and then Adams, I think, gets a little bit better through the infield section, although recently not so much. As Tessum's got a fast car. This is a battle brewing, and it's right there. Oh, well, it's a battle that's over and done with. It looks like that Adams got a little bit loose going through the International Horseshoe back onto the racetrack.
And that we've seen, it seems like the later that goes on, the more the drivers have figured out how to do the transition from the road course to the oval section. But that horseshoe has just been getting harder and harder throughout the night, as tires really have started to drift away, and it's been hard to get onto the gas for these drivers. 3 laps to go. Riley Thompson over almost 11 seconds over Cohen Evans. And this has been a wild race, Anthony. And I don't think that we are done just yet. As the way that some of these drivers have been racing, you never know when someone else might spin around.
Yeah, and that includes our leader at the moment. Just because he's kept his nose clean thus far does not mean that later on might have an issue. We said that about a lot of drivers tonight, and then they ended up having issues. I think the biggest example of that was Danny Roberts, as he was in a really good position, had the opportunity to have a top 3 finish tonight, and then spun it around, and that started a cavalcade of a lot of issues that followed that eventually put him 14th, DNF'd from the race. So it's not over till it's over, and we have 2 laps to go, coming to 2 laps to go for Thompson. He's going to have to stay perfect for at least 2 more. If he can have that happen, then he's got another win under his belt for the season. If not, then we could have a mad dash to the end of the race.
A total of 10 drivers still left on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down is going to be Brent Jones, and then you've also got Christian Alacio in the 81 machine in 12th place. Will Roberts still in the pits, leaving us with 13 drivers still on course if Will Roberts gets back onto the track, but still in the server. Total of 4 drivers have DNF'd this race, and a lot of heavy contenders. I mean, Eric Gonzalez, always quick at ovals, and has been showing pace here at road courses. You had Barrett Rolfe, who was battling for a top 5 finish, and at one point top 3. Danny Roberts, who was in our top 3, second place for the first part of this race. Daly, who looked like he was about to be a hard charger to the front at one point. And those are the 4 drivers that are officially out of this race. As right now, closest battle is the battle for 8th place, but Sarah Tessam pulling away from the 59 of Evan Adams.
Yeah, Tessam has established herself as a clear-cut favorite for the 8th place position if she can indeed hold it. So, pretty good run. Pretty good considering everything that's happened tonight for that 70 machine, and just looking to close out the end of the race after a long, busy race for that machine. And coming down, it looks like that Thompson is going to take the white flag. It's caution free throughout the race. You see this a lot with the road course races throughout this series, that they're a little bit hesitant to call full course yellows for spins in this league, and this track's big enough, so yeah, that's not a surprise there. But white flag in the air. Thompson takes the last lap of the race, and he's got to stay clean for one more, and that's all it takes to win the race tonight.
1.5 minutes is as long as this course is for these drivers, and it is a long time. It feels so much longer than it really is, as Riley Thompson has to stay clean. Luckily has a 14.2 second gap over Cohen Evans, and then he's got himself 34.2 second gap over himself and Jason Brophy. Brophy's starting to drift back from Cohen Evans and really hasn't been able to make a charge, but still, like we stated all race, it's been a very solid day for the 88 machine. Exactly what he needed to do was just get a top 10. A top 3 finish was prime for this 88 machine, and I think he'll be just elated by just having a top 3 finish here, as he's been getting better and better at these road courses.
Given the circumstance that he came into this race in, then this is as good as he could have hoped for. A podium position is nothing easy, no matter what discipline you're racing in, no matter what series you're racing in. And given that the fact that you might not be so good at road courses, perfect opportunity to really keep the points close. And even just because Thompson has been so dominant tonight, he has done the same thing. He has gotten out front, never looked back, did the 56 machine, and out of NASCAR turn 4. Final time down the front straightaway. Riley Thompson does it again this season. Another win under his belt. He wins at Daytona in the IndyCars.
Riley Thompson, 3rd win of the season. Major to have, as we're now entering the non-drop races at Watkins Glen and at Homestead. It is going to be a wild final 2 races of the season, but Riley Thompson feeling on top of the world right now, as everyone else still racing to finish out this race. Cohen Evans still has finally crossed the line. Jason Brophy is trying to cross the line here as well. But man, Anthony, it's been a wild one for sure, as Brophy finally crosses the line there. That battle that was going on for 8th place, it was close at times, as they're still trying to cycle around this track.
Yeah, they've got a long way to go, too. They're still in the back half of the racetrack, and this race is still going on. It's a half a second, so we don't want to go away from this just yet. This is still a battle for the race. The fireworks go off in the background. This has got to be a run to the light. It's going to be a drag race between these drivers, as Adams is right on the back end. Does he have enough to pass Tessam going down the front straightaway? A late race battle to end out the race.
Evan Adams, he had a spin, but it doesn't matter. He's recovered. But here comes Sarah Tessam trying to make a crossover move, but not enough time. This is the battle for 8th place, and it was a doozy.
Whoa, a drag race down to the line. Evan Adams gets the run out of the bus stop and was able to hold the speed all the way down to the front straightaway and to the start-finish line. Gets the 8th place, steals it away from Tessam. What a run down to the end.
It certainly was a fun run, and that really was how all race went for these drivers. But the car that won it, that's going to be the 56 of Riley Thompson, who's trying to coast his way around the course, finally trying to find himself near the finish line, where he has found himself and getting ready to burn it down.
In front of all these fans here tonight, burns it down in front of all of them. Another win on the season for this 56 team, and you got to think that going to the last 2 races, it's down to crunch time. He's the points leader. He's extended his points lead tonight, but factoring drop races, it's really not that big of a gap going into Watkins, and Homestead. So he has to stay consistent. But as far as tonight, it's all about this 56 machine. Another win under his belt for the season. And what does that make it? 3, 4 on the season?
3 for the season, tying the most. That's going to be tied with Jason Brophy. Brophy as well has 3 this season. All of his wins have been at ovals. Riley Thompson making it clean here with the road courses. But here's a rundown of your finishing results. Riley Thompson first. Cone Evans going to be in second. Jason Brophy finishing your podium positions. Kite Bommersbach, Justin Miller, both of them had some interesting moments throughout this race, able to finish in the top 5. Chad Simpson, Rodrigo Munoz, Evan Adams, Sarah Tessam, and Mike Hurley, your top 10.
That's a really stacked top 10 on down through 11th to 17th. It's going to be Brent Jones, Christian Alacio, Byron Daly, Danny Roberts, Barrett Rolfe, Will Roberts, and Eric Gonzalez. All those drivers pretty much from Daly on back are drivers that retired from this race. Will Roberts did not officially retire, as in he didn't get off track. He did, however, finish in 16th on pit road for the majority of the end of the race. So that is the situation there. And Eric Gonzalez, got to feel bad for him. Only completed 8 laps tonight. I'm sorry, he did not only complete 8 laps. Only completed 3 laps tonight did Eric Gonzalez before he retired it. So a really quick Daytona race for that 42 machine.
And just as fast as the race is done, the drivers are ready for interviews as we bring in Jason Brophy.
Really annoyed with him.
Oh, sorry, Jason. I know you were in the middle of a conversation there. Getting quick to interviews, though. How do you feel after getting that podium finish?
I'm happy. I mean, it's one of those. A podium's the best I could ask for, really, out of today. I think I had decent pace, but the instant turn 1, lap 1 after that, 3rd place is like a win. Well, I guess turn 2, but just kick sideways, and so being able to recover like that, a lot of people had some misfortune, but it's good for the points, good overall. So.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you had that misfortune for yourself on that first lap, and then you started to rebound. And how was the track? Because we did see so many drivers having issues on the transition from road course to oval, as well as at the horseshoe.
Yeah, off-camber stuff, getting on power, the car really wanted to just kind of snap on you suddenly. That was where it was most difficult. So you had to be easy on the throttle, but if you're too easy, you go slow, and you could catch yourself out without enough downforce. So it was a touchy setup. I think the touchiest part, and I'm going to guess if I go back and watch this replay, we had a few people die on pit exit. You just kind of try and gas it up out of the pits and go straight to the wall. It was tricky trying to get it up to speed, get the throttle down. And I think that caught a lot of people out. So thankfully I only got caught out once or twice. I didn't have any too big of moments. So happy to come home with 3rd.
You did drive the wheels off of that 88 car. We were watching you come back through the field on a tear, and it was really exciting to watch coming through the field. And yeah, there was a lot of drivers with pit exit issues, especially that guardrail on the outside of pit exit. And given your success tonight, it seems that you're getting better at these road courses. That being said, going into next week is going to be another road course, and you are right there with the points battle between yourself and Thompson. 2 races left. You're favored to win at the oval of Homestead. However, with your showing tonight, how are you feeling going into Watkins? Do you think that you might have a shot for another top 3, potentially even a win?
I feel pretty good about the boot version of Watkins. I think that's the one running. I think I can do well there. I think I feel like it should be a decently strong track. I'm not going to sit here and say that I can go out and win it. I think Riley's pretty clearly Riley and Byron, when he's here, pretty clearly kind of the best road course racers, I'd say, right now. On pace, Cohen's been showing pretty well. So, my goal, if I can get a top 3 out of it, I'm happy. I mean, that's a good run for me at a road course. So anywhere in the top 5, but I think I'm pretty decent at Watkins Glen. I think I have enough laps there that I can be comfortable. So I'm happy to go there and then go to Homestead and let the cards fall where they will.
Well, Jason, you're looking good for a chance at this championship. But before we let you go here tonight, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Sure. I had a lot of fun racing with Riley. I know that, we kind of got strung out there, but I wanted that lap lead. And so that's why you saw me kind of slide it there, trying to stay in front of him, because lap lead, every point matters, and he knew that, and so he was trying to keep me behind him. But good racing with him there, good racing all around. I think most people. It was pretty clean for us. Obviously, it was a little tough drive. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. Tanner J. Watkins putting on the Open Wheels 500 November 15th. So be sure to tune into that if y'all Indy 500 race. So big name in the IndyCar community. You might have noticed his face plastered all over my car. So want to give a shout out to him because he puts on a heck of an event. So.
Well, that's Jason Brophy in the 88 machine getting a third place finish here at Daytona. And good luck at the Glen next week.
Thank you.
And Anthony bringing in Cohen Evans now, second place. Cohen, it's Sam and Anthony. You got us?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you were right on the tail bumper of Riley Thompson, and then a couple of mistakes happened. How tough was this course?
It wasn't very tough, and then I decided to go to map 1 on the engine because apparently the base set was on map 7, and I didn't notice that. And apparently that messed up the way the car balance it was in the bus stop, and it caused me to go in the grass and lose like 5 seconds and lose the draft. And there wasn't much else I could do to catch him after that.
Yeah, I mean, you were up there, you had the pace, but how was this course trying to get by some of the drivers and also getting out of pit road, because that seemed like a very dangerous spot on course?
I had a pretty close moment on pit road coming out after the second stop. That left-hander that has the pit wall, I kind of went in a little hot, but I didn't switch tires, so I think the tires were still pretty warm, and that helped me out.
Yeah, we saw that a lot of drivers having issues on the exit of the pit road. Also, a lot of drivers spinning around throughout this racetrack. Did you feel like that your car ever had that moment of, oh, it's going to go around, or was it on the edge when you were driving around here? Because we've had a number of people say that on these off-camera turns, it was really difficult, especially the International Horseshoe and the exit onto the oval section off of the infield.
I think it was pretty manageable. I didn't really have a problem. It was a little fun, sort of. I don't know what else they could have done to the setup to make that better. This track's going to handle a lot, way different than any other track we're going to go to this year.
Completely it is. And how are you feeling about going to the Glen next week?
I love that place, so I'm excited to see if I can do another podium next week.
Well, Cohen, a great run for yourself here with second place finish. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I'll just say hi to my mom and my dad if they're watching. That's it.
Well, that's Cohen Evans in the 17 machine, able to get a second place finish here at Daytona. And good luck at the Glen next week.
Thank you.
And then we've got the man that dominated all race here today, Riley Thompson. Riley, it's Sam and Anthony. You got us?
Yep.
Well, it looked almost picture perfect from our point of view, but how was it on your side?
It seemed like it was about that way as well. Only really had to think about making sure I could take tires both times just to be on the safe side. And I think really pit exit was the only scary part of the night.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone was having that issue. A lot of front runners like Danny Roberts and Barrett Rolfe, had issues coming out of pit road. What was it about pit road exit that really was hard for these drivers?
For some reason, it feels like it's kind of the track because a lot of road courses you can normally get on it the corner straight away. But I'm kind of guessing since you just never can really get rubber in that part of the track, it just kind of loops itself around.
Yeah, it's a very secluded part of the racetrack compared to the rest of the field, and one of the longer pit exits that you actually have to go through in order to get back on the racing surface. And we saw a lot of drivers, especially because the pit limiter left you could get off of it at the end of the pit road rather than snaking all the way around there. That might have been a contributing factor to that, but a dominating performance tonight. You had a little battle between yourself and Jason Brophy for a little while after you made a stop and he stayed out to get some valuable lap-led bonuses. And given that fact, you two are pretty close in the point standings. We're going to Watkins next. Do you think that you can get out of there with another top 10 finish, maybe a top 3 finish? And do you really think that you could keep this points lead from Jason Brophy heading into the next 2 races, as one of the races you're favorited and the other race Brophy's favorited in?
I mean, Homestead, I'm 50-50 on. I think they'll just kind of go however it wants to go. Can't really prepare for it too much, but Watkins, I think after winning it last season, I'm pretty interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, Riley, you've been just looking so good at these road courses, and during the ovals, you've been consistent as well there. So, I mean, that was what we saw last season. Was consistency was what won Johnson the championship then, and it's looking like it could possibly be what's giving you this championship this season. Before we let you go, though, tonight the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Oh, of course, gotta thank Sims Esports and iLiveries for putting the logo on this beautiful car. Linford, Craig Setup Shop, and Brophy for not punting me into the bus stop that one time.
Close racing action for sure. Riley Thompson in that 56 machine getting the win here. 3rd win of the season for this team, and really trying to make a stamp that he is a contender for the championship. Good luck next week at the Glen, and have a good rest of your night, Riley.
Thanks, guys. You too.
And Anthony, wild race for sure. At the start, we had cars being taken out of and driving off course in the first corner, and then we had a battle there at the end on the final lap. Just ridiculous racing from top to bottom.
Yeah, there was always something happening on the racetrack throughout the entire night. And towards the end, the cars got a little bit spread out, and that really kind of closed the gaps a little, or opened the gaps a little bit. So there wasn't as much battling, but there was still battles going on the racetrack. You had the off tracks at the first lap and the first turn and the second turn. Then you had self spins throughout the night from multiple drivers in different parts of the racetrack. Battles on the racetrack that all culminated going either into the bus stop or through turn 1. And most famously, the final battle between Evan Adams and Sarah Tessum on the last lap after Riley Thompson had already taken the checkered flag. A long way to go. The fireworks are going off and everything, and there was a drag race going on for the 8th place position. And it was just stuff like that all night long that really kept this race entertaining for all the fans. And as commentators, it left us with a lot of things to look at as far as what to call. And these drivers always put on a show, and I think Daytona and IndyCar is a winning combo. Wink, wink, and nudge, nudge.
It is constantly racing action. What's funny is we've actually had the drivers bring it up of there's always racing everywhere, and it's hard to keep up with all the racing action because there's battling up front and in the back everywhere on track, and that's what these fuel guys do week after week. Well, that's it here at Daytona. Well, we still have 2 more races. Like you said, the Glen is coming up, and then Homestead finish off this season. Anthony, tonight was a blast, and thanks for being in the booth with me.
It's always a pleasure to be in the booth. The last week or so was a little bit rough, but I'm getting back into the swing of things. My voice isn't trying to say no to me all the time, so it's really good to be in the booth with you and feeling a lot better than I was a week ago.
It's always great to hear that you're back, and also the rest of the FRN crew that were sick last week, that they're also getting healthy and back into the booth. Well, for us on the Flatout Racing Network on our YouTube page, more racing action to be kicked off tomorrow and the night after that, as we've got ourselves the Rapid Fired Pizza National Series racing at Iowa, the final race of the top 8 to figure out who is going to be racing for the championship next week after that. And it's just going to be more and more intense. Also, Saturday, we've got a couple of other racing events. We've got some NR events going on with the Holodega special. And then we've also got the Veterans of Foreign War Cup Series. They're also going to have their final race of the top 8 to figure out who will be racing for the championship the week after that. But for us here tonight, my name is Sam Dyer with Anthony McCurry. You got to watch another race here in the Flatout Racing Network YouTube page. And a fantastic run by Riley Thompson here at Daytona International Speedway and the road course configuration. We'll be seeing you next week at Watkins Glen.